Welcome back to our live webcast from the floor of the Washington, D.C. Auto Show. And joining me right now is Fred Upton, Congressman Fred Upton from the 6th District,
Southwest Michigan.
Southwest Michigan. So, and you also with the Energy Committee, right?
That's right. I'm the top Republican on the Energy and Environment Subcommittee on Energy and Commerce, but I'm also co-chair of the Auto Caucus, the second largest bipartisan caucus in the House.
It's good to hear that it's bipartisan.
It is. No,
because the auto industry needs all the help it can get these days.
You're not kidding. Dale Kilde's my co-chair from Flint, obviously, but and I was at the Detroit Auto Show 2 weeks ago. Came with the Speaker, the Majority Leader, and a number of members of the House and the Senate. They were very, I go to the Detroit Auto Show almost every year, but it was nice to see other members. I don't think we've ever had the Speaker there. A Speaker.
I don't think so ever, not to my knowledge. And the head of the DOT, Ray LaHood, was there as well.
I sat next to him at the lunch that we had with the governor on that day, and I'm sure that Ray will be here this week as well.
Right. Well, we love the fact that we got that much attention at the Detroit Auto Show. It helps that a lot.
Yeah, exactly. But this is important as you go to other cities, Washington, Chicago, LA, etc., because there really are quite a few new exciting technologies that are on display. Before I came down to this booth, and it's not officially open yet, so that's why I don't have this name tag that you got to have with the security to get in. But I had the chance to ride one of these turbo diesels. Oh man, that thing! I went on the street without a lot of traffic, but it shot pretty good. But it's exciting when America thinks about diesel. They think about the old polluting cars, the buses, etc. And clean diesel is a great new thing, and it's catching on with consumers.
How do you rate what we're doing as a country right now in terms of energy security, and especially as it relates to the automotive industry?
Well, I'm one of those guys. I supported the Pickens plan. I'm one of the all of the above guys. We got to do it all. But we are, as a nation, we are going to require 30 to 40% more energy, electricity in large part, in the next 20 years. We're not prepared for that. So,
i.e. because the population of the country is growing, they keep buying more and more electronic
We
stuff.
know the economy is going to pick back up, and that's what's hurt us so badly in Michigan, in that 1 in 10 jobs across the country are auto-related. And in Michigan, well, across the country, then we've lost 1 in 5 manufacturing jobs, almost half of them here at home. But as we think about the future, the autos have got to help us climb out of this, and that's why it was so important for us to get that new plant, GM plant. They're starting construction already in Lake Orion. Delegation worked very hard on that, and it's important. Even though I don't have any assembly jobs in my side of the state, we have a lot of auto parts. And man, those part suppliers go where the plants are. So if that plant had gone to Tennessee or Wisconsin, the supplier units would have gone there too. We would have lost even more jobs.
Right, and a lot of people don't know on the west side of Michigan too. A lot of design and engineering goes on there.
Well, that's
as well.
right. Well, remember, Studebaker was headquartered in South Bend, just south of my district. I was there this morning, and I want to say that something like 75% of all the tool and die operations in the world are within 50 miles of South Bend.
That's an amazing statement.
And
I never knew that.
That comes back to when Studebaker was in its prime back in, the 30s and 40s.
Yeah. So going back again to where the nation stands, you said we're going to need 30% more energy.
We're going to need more energy, so we've got to be prepared for it. And that also means then we have to have more energy-efficient vehicles. A couple years ago, I saw the Volt. I was with Wagner, was always a good friend of mine. And
at General Motors, right?
General Motors, so we came. He didn't realize that my BlackBerry had a camera in it, and the security guys went bananas when I faked that I was going to take a picture. Oh, you can't do that. But I saw it. We all knew what the numbers were going to be, and of course, it's going to be in the showroom for sale in August. But it's not GM. They're all beginning to do this, and that is terrific. When you can get these vehicles that you literally can plug in, where our driving habits are going to change. At least when we park, you're going to have an outlet maybe for electricity.
But are they going to change? I mean,
yeah,
I argue one of the hardest things in the world to change is consumer behavior.
It's going to change, and in fact, the states and the federal government are going to figure out how they're going to collect the money to build our roads, because as our cars get more efficient, they're getting less revenue than they ever did before, which is, we see the potholes.
Well, we in Michigan know firsthand how...
we should have, I feel anyone that's above the freeze line, we ought to get more money, not less. But in any case, it's happening. To see the cars like I saw in Detroit, and I just walked in the door now, so I know a good number of the vehicles that surround us were in Detroit that are now here for the Washington show. But that is what consumers are going to want. They're going to be pleased that yes, there is enough room to put the dog in the back and maybe your two kids. You know, I'm going to drive the Volt this afternoon. I've not driven it yet. But it is bigger than people thought that it was. And some of the other vehicles, in terms of their energy performance, et cetera, they are, you know, it'll work. We want to make it work. And knowing that at the end game is that we will rely less on foreign oil, hey, we're all better off.
But we still buy a lot of oil. Is there anything, move afoot? It doesn't sound like there is. Would you tax gasoline or diesel higher? I mean, isn't there a way of...
I'm not one of those guys. But, you know, take the electric hybrid. I mean, an amazing statistic from the start was they thought there would be a good number of vehicles that might never use the gasoline in that tank, that they would always be within 60 miles of a recharge. And, of course, with inner city driving, that's the case. You're not going to get on the interstate maybe with that type of vehicle. So, but then now you look in the range, going to be some, you know, they're talking well over 100 miles.
Yeah, over 200 miles to the gallon equivalent.
And within 5 years, the size of the battery is going to shrink by 80%. And so we're right on the cusp. Good news, I want to say it was by GM today. I just heard it on the snitch on the radio this morning about they're going to take over the battery operations, which...
well, they're going to start building. They've already announced they're going to make the batteries themselves. Right. Today they officially announced that they're going to make the electric motors for electric vehicles as well.
And it's going to be here,
and
right?
In the US of A, you bet.
So, I mean, that's good things. I mean, it's good things. And, you know, one of the little messages that the Congress had for Ed Whitaker, a guy that I've known a long time because I once chaired the telecommunications subcommittee, so he was the chairman of AT&T back then. But, you know, when I saw him in Detroit, he said, Fred, he said, I'm a taxpayer too. We want to pay the money back. And, of course, they're on track to pay that back by June, and that is good news for everyone.
Well, that's good news, but as you know, they got $50 billion, and they're now paying back 6.5 of it or something like that. There's still a lot more to go.
It's coming, but it's going to come. They're going to be on that track. For those that said it wasn't going to happen, they're going to be proven
No,
wrong.
I still think once they do an IPO, and if, there's a lot of ifs here, but if GM stock tracks what Ford stock's been doing, I say there's a chance the government could get every penny of it back.
Yeah, well, that's what we want.
Yeah.
And we want them to survive, so it'd be a win-win.
But let's go back to energy policy in the country, because we started the CAFE legislation in the late 1970s. And here we are today, a quarter of a century later, using more oil than we ever did before. So how confident are you that CAFE is going to get us off this energy addiction, oil addiction?
It will help us. It doesn't get us there. It will help us. And in large part, it's because our sources of oil have dried up. Take Alaska. We're getting only 60% of the oil today that we got 10, 12 years ago from Alaska. So if we don't continue to explore, if we don't continue to look for alternatives, look at the new technologies that are there. We had a hearing last week in my subcommittee on hydraulic fracturing to be able to draw up natural gas from these wonderful reserves that we've now found around the world, around the country, adding hundreds of years to the domestic supply. But if somehow that practice is banned, you know, it's worthless. So we need that. We need to look offshore drilling. We need Alaska. We need energy from nuclear power. All of those things have to be in a mix. And if we can see that happen, then in fact we can reduce our reliance on fossil fuel, oil.
Especially the important stuff.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Well, Fred Upton, thanks so much for coming in and sharing your views on where things are going, especially legislatively, as it applies to the auto industry.
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing, our delegation has worked very hard together on really helping all of the domestic auto industry begin to move, and we're excited about the year that's going to come about. And the Detroit Auto Show was wonderful to see and kick the tires, and now hopefully we'll even get more members of Congress and other government officials to see it right here in the heart of Washington, D.C.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it much. Yeah, thanks for your time. I know how busy you are.
Yep.